Imagine a body that turns itself into stone, a mind that warps reality, or even a voice that suddenly adopts an entirely new accent, without warning. Welcome, curious minds, to our deep dive into the 5 most bizarre medical anomalies that doctors couldn't explain. I'm your guide on this journey through the uncharted territories of human biology and the mysteries that even the brightest medical minds struggle to decode. In the next 10 minutes, we'll unravel astonishing cases that blur the line between science and the supernatural. So, buckle up and get ready to question everything you thought you knew about the human body. And hey, if you've ever wondered if your muscles could literally turn to bone, stick around because you're about to be blown away. You know, we humans, we like to think we've got this whole body thing figured out. We've mapped the genome, we've got microscopic robots swimming through our veins. And yet some conditions remind us just how much we don't know. Take, for instance, Fibrodysplasia Ossificans Progressiva, or FOP. It's commonly known as Stone Man syndrome, and for good reason. Imagine, if you will, your muscles slowly turning to bone. Not metaphorically like some kind of emotional hardening. I'm talking about your actual muscles, tendons, ligaments, even your connective tissues gradually replaced by bone. It's like your body decides to build a second skeleton right on top of the one you already have. Now, we're talking about a rare genetic disorder here, thankfully. But for those who have it, everyday life becomes a delicate dance with fate. A minor bump, a fall, even the stress of a pulled muscle can trigger this runaway bone growth. Can you imagine living with that, knowing that any wrong step could literally turn a part of you to stone? Pattern interrupt? Humorous aside, ever thought your body might decide it needs an extreme makeover? This isn't a spa day, it's a full-blown involuntary renovation that even modern medicine can't seem to halt. And that's the real head-scratcher for the medical community. What triggers this process? And how do you stop a body from essentially waging war on itself? It's a biological puzzle that has stumped the best of us. As we wrap up this chapter of bodily betrayal, ask yourself, what could possibly be more confounding than your muscles turning into stone? Hold that thought, because our next anomaly takes us on a mind-bending trip into altered perceptions. We're about to step through the looking glass, folks, and into a world where the familiar becomes utterly alien. Buckle up, because we're diving into the strange realm of Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Now, if you're thinking this is just some whimsical name for a mild condition, think again. We're talking about a neurological phenomenon so disorienting, so profoundly bizarre, that it makes you question the very fabric of reality. Imagine, if you will, looking at your hand and seeing it inflate to the size of a hot air balloon. Or watching as your surroundings shrink and distort, as if you've fallen down a rabbit hole into a world governed by different laws of physics. This is the reality for people experiencing Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Their perception of size, distance, even time itself, becomes warped and unreliable. It's like living in a Salvador Dali painting, where nothing is as it seems and your senses can't be trusted. Pattern interrupt. Question to the audience. Have you ever had a day where everything felt off? Multiply that sensation 1,000 times and you might just glimpse the reality of Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Now, the medical community has linked this syndrome to a whole host of potential culprits. Migraines, epilepsy, viral infections, you name it. But the truth is, we're still largely in the dark when it comes to pinpointing the exact cause. And that's what makes Alice in Wonderland syndrome so fascinating, so unsettling. It reminds us that for all our scientific advancements, the human brain remains a vast, uncharted territory, capable of conjuring up experiences that defy logic and explanation. As the lines between perception and reality blur, our journey takes another unexpected turn. What could be more bewildering than a world that literally shifts before your eyes? Let's find out. Chapter 3. The Voice That Betrays. We humans, we take our voices for granted, don't we? It's the instrument of our thoughts, our emotions, the very essence of our identity. But what happens when that voice suddenly changes? Hold on tight, folks, because we're venturing into the perplexing world of foreign accent syndrome. Imagine waking up one morning and, out of the blue, you sound like you've been transported to a different part of the world. Your friends and family are bewildered. You're bewildered. It's like your own voice has been hijacked by an accent that feels utterly foreign to you. We're talking about a rare neurological disorder often triggered by strokes or traumatic brain injuries. The human brain is a marvel of interconnected networks, each responsible for different functions. Foreign accent syndrome occurs when these areas are damaged, causing a kind of neurological misfire. Imagine ordering a burger and fries in your new accent. You might just end up with a side of international confusion. Doctors and speech therapists are still trying to unravel the precise mechanisms at play. As we marvel at how the brain can rewrite the very essence of our voice, our next anomaly beckons. A sound that isn't music, yet it explodes right in your head. Prepare yourself for the next shock. Chapter 4. When your head explodes. Alright folks, let's talk about a phenomenon that's enough to make even the most seasoned skeptic jump out of their skin. Exploding head syndrome. Now before you start picturing heads literally going boom, let me assure you it's not nearly as gruesome as it sounds, but trust me, it's plenty bizarre. Imagine this. You're drifting off to sleep, or maybe you're just waking up when suddenly, BAM! It's like a bomb detonated inside your head, a deafening bang, a crash, a roar. The descriptions vary, but the experience is consistently terrifying. Now here's the kicker. There's no pain, no injury, no evidence that anything physically exploded. It's all happening inside the theater of your mind. So what in the cosmos is going on? Well, the medical community is still piecing together the puzzle, but the leading theory points to those liminal states between wakefulness and sleep. You see, as we transition between these states, our brains go through a whole symphony of electrical activity. And sometimes those signals get crossed, resulting in what can only be described as a sensory hallucination. Don't worry, no actual explosions, just your brain playing an over-the-top sound effect. But even though exploding head syndrome is considered benign, meaning it doesn't cause any physical harm, the psychological impact can be significant. Imagine being jolted awake by that kind of sensory overload. It's enough to make anyone think twice about getting a good night's sleep. Before you decide to hit the snooze button out of fear, prepare for our final, most haunting anomaly, a condition where life and death converge in a mind-boggling twist. Chapter 5. The Walking Corpse. We've explored bodies turning to bone, minds warping reality, even the terrifying sounds of silence. But nothing compares to the existential dread of Cotard syndrome, or walking corpse syndrome. Imagine waking up one day and feeling dead, not just figuratively, but literally. You believe you are deceased, a walking corpse. People with Cotard syndrome often feel like they're missing internal organs, that their blood has turned to dust, that their very existence is fading away. They withdraw from the world, consumed by the belief that they are already gone. Imagine the challenge for doctors and psychiatrists faced with this condition. How do you treat someone who believes they're no longer alive? The truth is, we're still a long way from fully understanding Cotard syndrome. Some theories suggest it's a disconnect between the emotional and perceptual areas of the brain, a kind of neurological short circuit that disrupts our ability to process reality. Cotard syndrome stands as a chilling reminder of the fragility of our own mortality and the unsettling reality that sometimes the greatest mysteries lie within our own minds. Today we've journeyed through the bizarre, from bodies turning to stone and minds warping reality, to voices that change without warning and heads that explode in silence, culminating in the haunting experience of feeling dead. Each of these anomalies challenges our understanding of medicine, pushing the boundaries of science and sparking questions that ripple through both our hearts and minds. And here's the twist. As we peel back the layers of these mysteries, one inevitable question emerges. What happens when life itself comes to an end? If these anomalies have stirred your curiosity, I invite you to delve even deeper into the unknown. Click on our next video, What Happens After Death? now appearing on your screen, where we explore the ultimate mystery of existence. Before you go, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support fuels our quest for knowledge and helps us bring more untold truths to light. As always, keep questioning, keep exploring, and most importantly, stay curious. Until next time, thank you for joining us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.